Volodymyr Zelensky has praised Ukrainian troops for advances claimed near the devastated city of Bakhmut. On the other hand, Russia says it repelled a large-scale attack and launched new strikes on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. The contrasting claims comes at a time as Pope Francis' peace envoy arrived in Kyiv for 2 days of talks. Speaking on the battle for Bakhmut, Zelensky said, and I'm quoting here, "I'm grateful to each of our warriors, to all our defenders who gave us the news we expect. Remember, in May, Russia said it seized the now destroyed eastern Ukrainian city, the scene of the longest and one of the bloodiest battles of the war."
We see how hysterically Russia perceives every step we take there, every position we take. The enemy knows that Ukraine will win. They see it. They feel it thanks to your strikes, soldiers, and in particular in Donetsk region. Thank you for that.
The boss of Russian mercenary group Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, also said that Ukraine's troops had made gains near Bakhmut. The Russian troops, he said, were slowly leaving the village of Berkivka near Bakhmut, which he said was a disgrace. Now, in the southern region of Zaporizhia, a Moscow-installed official said that the Ukrainian troops were on the offensive. The region is home to Europe's largest nuclear power plant and has been partly under the Russian control since the start of Moscow's offensive. The official said, and I'm quoting here, "It looks like the die has been cast and the next months will clear up a lot." He added that the fight will be serious because there is a lot at stake here. Russia launched a new wave of overnight airstrikes on Kyiv. The Ukrainian officials say that the air defense systems downed more than 20 cruise missiles on their approach. The military said that the falling debris hit road surfaces and also damaged power lines to the trolley system in Kyiv's most populous district. Earlier, Russia said that the enemy launched a large-scale offensive in 5 sectors of the front on Sunday. South of the Donetsk region, large parts of Donetsk have also been held by pro-Moscow forces since 2014. It is one of 4 eastern Ukrainian territories that Russia formally annexed in September, along with Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. The Russian Defense Ministry stated that it defeated new attempts to pierce Russian defenses in southern Donetsk region. Ukraine says it has been preparing a major offensive to recapture the lost territory. But there would be no announcement about when the counteroffensive would start. Some experts expect Ukrainian forces to test Russian defenses for weaknesses before starting a full-blown offensive. Meanwhile, the anti-Kremlin fighters, the Russian Volunteer Corps, claim to have taken control of a town southern Russia's Belgorod region. The statement came after Russia said it had repelled a Ukrainian attempt to cross into the Belgorod region on Sunday and killed more than 10 fighters.
Well, my friends, another day that fighters of the Russian Volunteer Corps are in control of Novaya Tobolzhanka. I want to remind every Russian citizen that this is not an abandoned village, but a place of 5,000 inhabitants. Now, nobody is here except for the fighters of the Russian Volunteer Corps. There is no second power or government here. As Mr. Gladkov cannot control the territory under his administration, we are only going to talk to his patrons in Moscow.
With incursions and drone attacks, experts say that the war has come home to Russia. The war has escalated in the recent weeks with increased attacks on both the sides of the border with Russia. Now, despite the US and its allies' continued ambitious efforts to strengthen the Ukrainians, there are no signs of an endgame in the war. The Russia-Ukraine conflict seems destined to enter an even more complicated phase in the coming few months. Ukraine is going head-to-head with Russia at the UN top court, accusing its bitter foe of backing pro-Moscow rebels for years before last year's full-scale invasion. Ukraine has also filed a separate case related to Russia's February 2022 invasion, accusing Moscow of planning genocide. In that case, the International Court of Justice ordered Russia to suspend the invasion. The ICJ was created after World War II to deal with disputes between the UN member states. Its decisions are binding, although it has no means to enforce them.
город весь разнесен.
And for more on this, we were earlier joined by retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis. He has 21 years of service, including 4 combat deployments. He's a military expert and senior fellow for defense priorities. Here's what he had to say on the latest in the Ukraine-Russia war. Take a listen.
Definitely, there has been some activity in the south. It's actually just across the border in the Belgorod region. And there's no doubt that Ukraine is using whatever resources they can. If they have found some disaffected Russian citizens, they're arming them with some of the equipment that the United States and the West has given to the Ukrainian side. We saw it in the attack on Belgorod last week, or in that direction, I think like 10 kilometers into the country. Ukraine wants to try to open another front to try to cause Russia to divert some of their resources and some of their reserves to try to prevent an excursion into Russia proper. And the Russian side is trying to use as minimal force as they can so that they don't take away from their primary lines of defense inside of Ukraine. And it's really going to see who's going to be blinking first and to how far they can go. But thus far, it's just a handful of kilometers, so it doesn't actually represent a real threat to Moscow. It's very embarrassing, and it's making a lot of people unhappy on the Russian side. But thus far, it's not a real military threat